place hour-wise, I think, because we've got a big storm system rolling in. Certainly, you know, we've noticed a little bit of rain out here today, Janice, but this is not even the start of it.
Yeah, the rain today will be really minimal compared to what we're going to be dealing with over the next 24 to 48 hours. In particular, there's a low pressure system and a cold front moving our way, and that's part of the ripple effect that's going to lead to some of the severe weather we're going to have over the next couple of days. As a matter of fact, it's going to initially start in Monday in the evening today. So just keep in mind, as you go into the evening of tonight, you'll start to notice there will be some rain, but it won't necessarily be the severe rain that we're going to be dealing with. Tuesday is the really big day where we're going to have to deal with this. And so we're going to have a couple of things to take into consideration. Strong winds, tornadoes, and hail will all be a contributing factor over the next 24 to 48 hours. Now, the strongest line affiliated with the squall line specifically will be from noon to about 7 p.m. tomorrow. That could narrow down, but more than likely that's going to be the time frame when you're going to be most impacted by the most severe and dangerous weather. But there'll still be storms throughout the day.
And the thing too, I wrote a web story a couple of days ago. If people are curious about these low pressure systems and what that exactly means, you can read that and it'll break it down and help you understand why the system is coming in and why it's coming in during that timeline. And today, Janice, I know you and I were talking, there's just a general risk for storms, but really tomorrow is when that enhanced risk comes in. And I really want to express the severity of an enhanced risk. Typically here, we've seen slight risk, at least since I've been working here. Enhanced means we have to really download the app, keep an eye on this, and tornadoes could be an imminent threat. Could be.
Yes. And so typically with the Storm Prediction Center, they're going to do an assessment of the atmosphere throughout various regions in the country. So for us, this type of weather is initially going to be starting today in areas like Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi. And we're going to see the impact of this type of a storm on them throughout today. But as it makes it closer to our area Tuesday morning, going throughout the rest of the day on Tuesday, this is why this is so important to take into consideration, because there are some severe storms and the potential for tornadoes and also for hail. The one thing I want to mention about this is how widespread that this is as far as the enhanced concerns that we have here. This isn't just isolated to one particular area or southeast Georgia or just northeast Florida. It's really going to impact a lot of the state of Georgia and also the state of Florida.
It is. It's very widespread. And when you have a threat like this, an enhanced risk that's this widespread, it tells you something. And, you know, another thing that we as meteorologists do, I like to track as it comes through Louisiana and Texas and see what it leaves behind. It doesn't always mean it'll leave it behind in our area, but it gives you an idea of the power of that particular storm. By Wednesday, though, the threats are all gone and you're back to normal. You're actually going to have a great sunny day on Wednesday. One thing, though, I want to talk about is these gusts, these wind gusts of 40 to 50 miles an hour. Janice, I think we can agree with sustained winds with this being anywhere from 20 to 35 miles an hour. Your patio furniture, trash cans. I mean, these are obvious things that people need to do to bring them in, but these winds, that is powerful, powerful wind there.
Also with the winds, keep in mind tomorrow, if you're driving on the bridges and you notice that there's a little bit of shaking of your vehicle, that is highly likely, especially when the peak of this storm moves through, because it will be so strong. So keep that in mind as well. You'll feel stronger winds along the coast, but you'll also feel stronger winds inland, and you'll feel stronger winds as the system is moving through our area. So keep that in mind. Hail is also possible.
It is possible. And the tornado threat, I had a viewer email me, and we love getting these emails. I want you to ask us questions and we'll answer them. But they said, okay, so it's a level 2 with the tornado threat. Any level is something to keep an eye on. Yes, the threat is there and it is on the lighter side for a tornado, but even with that, as meteorologists, just the fact that it's possible. We saw what happened in Fort Lauderdale. We've seen these things happen, so it's something that we're going to take really seriously. With the heavy downpours, we could see tidal and coastal flooding, and there's a gale warning out there, Janice.
Yes, and that gale warning has been in effect actually since this weekend, and it won't expire until the 10th. It might actually be extended out beyond that, but one of the reasons is because the height of those waves will be so much greater than their normal height, and so keep that in mind as well.
Well, and the power outages are, of course, course, likely to be an issue in here from isolated to scattered. And the reason is, and if you watch this, it times out. This is Tuesday around 1 o'clock. We'll time it out again through like 2, 3, 4, and 5. By that point, the power may be out for some of you. And with that, it's because of the winds. Think about that. These winds come in. It's strong enough to uproot trees, take power lines down. It's very, very serious. So that was just something to also mention, that power outages, if it goes out, it could take time to come back on. It's not
really
that it's,
could. So just in case you are someone that is impacted by the power outages that could potentially happen tomorrow, make sure that you prepare. This will be very typical and very similar to something like a tropical storm, even though we're not necessarily designating it as that. Based upon the wind speeds, the intensity of this storm, and the potential impact it could have once the storm moves through the area, it's very characteristic of what would be considered like a tropical storm. So looking at this hour by hour on Tuesday afternoon, you begin to see the leading edge of this storm, and it has a lot of intensity to it already. As it comes through during lunchtime, making its way I-10, I-75, you can see a lot of the intensity of the heavy downpours, which will be in this area, but it'll maintain the heavy downpours, even though it's moving off the coast on the leading edge. Take a look back here. You still see near that corridor of I-10, I-75, you'll still have some heavy rain moving through the system. It'll be a wide squall line as well as it has impact. And the big thing that's fueling this system, you can see these winds coming from the south. It's going to be some really warm air, Katie. And this is the part that I think will be deceptive for people. Monday going into Tuesday, it's actually going to be warmer. It's going to be much warmer. And I talked about this on the morning show. I'm sure you did over the weekend. Warmer air is like putting gas in a car to make it go. It's going to fuel this system. So, and it is a really wide squall line as it comes through. So I want people to know this is a widespread system. This isn't something that anybody's not going to deal with. And the warmer air, as Janice mentioned, is the fuel to this fire as it comes through. So yeah, and the totals, Janice, I actually said this morning, I think they're a little generous. These are model estimates. I think you're going to see a little more rain in Jacksonville, but we talked about this as well. It's not the rain necessarily that's going to cause the flooding. It's these tides. As they bring in those heavier tides, you could certainly see some flooding from the river. The St. Johns Basin is an area that would see potentially a good amount of flooding. I was looking into that, but certainly people are going to be impacted. Yeah, there will be some minor flooding, and even in areas around the TV station areas like San Marco that typically flood. If there's areas when you see a storm move through and they have the light, moderate, minor flooding, keep in mind you'll probably see the same thing happening tomorrow in a lot of areas close to us. As far as those accumulations, though, it might be 1 to 2 inches of rain that we see so far. That is kind of on the low end, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's somewhere of a total accumulation of about 1 to 2 inches of rain. But I don't consider it to be major flooding at this point. The strong winds are really going to be a big factor for this, which could lead to the power outages. And again, like Katie mentioned, make sure you bring in anything loose outside. So like your patio furniture, bring those types of things in, because they could potentially fly around and fly away when this system moves through on Tuesday. A point I want to make too tomorrow is a lot of kids first day back after Christmas break. When you think about going to that bus stop, if you're able to take the kids or maybe sit with them there, it could be wet. It's not going to be huge at that time of the morning. Nonetheless, those winds could pick up at any point, and as the storm comes in, things will obviously get heavier as the kids come home. So that's more of the concern as they come home around 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. It could be a rough bus ride home. It could be a rough pickup. It's something that you want to prepare for, because again, the morning hour is not going to be where we're concerned, but make sure you pack that poncho and you pack anything they might need just to stay dry out there. Warmth is not going to be a problem. 75 is what I have in for the high tomorrow. Obviously, it's going to be warm, but come Wednesday, we feel much, much better. But as that system comes through, that cold front, cooler air is going to come in behind it. So we go from 75 to 58 by Wednesday. And that is one of the concerns. Once this storm moves through, one of the concerns I have for you is if there is a power outage and you're now looking at temperatures on Wednesday that are in the low 40s, it's going to be a very chilly morning and chilly day until your power is restored if you do lose power from this storm. So also keep that in mind. Just prepare yourself. This is really going to feel similar to a tropical storm.
Very, very similar.
And the peak of it will be between about noon and 6 p.m. or so around sunset. So just keep that in mind as you're going through your day tomorrow. Today we'll get a little bit of an introduction as far as rain and the gloomy type of weather. But Tuesday is that really big day, already been designated as a weather authority day here at News4JAX. So just please keep that in mind and be safe and download the Weather Authority app.
Yes.
And just stay tuned in.
Make the kit. I mean, go ahead and make that emergency kit in case a tornado warning pops up. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but at least then you have the authority to go anywhere you need to go in the house and feel safe and prepared. And preparedness is key with this. And so we're going to get you through it. Our whole team is going to be all over it. And I'll see you at noon. I know Mark Collins is back tomorrow, so we look forward to getting you through this safely. If you have questions, we're just an email away.
All right, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll have more. Just continue to follow us, download all the apps, and we'll see you here on News4JAX. Yeah, tomorrow's going to be quite an event.